fee is greater than the fee you're claiming.
It is
It is their right. Yes.
The right that someone has. All of our rights exist in context.
What is the context of a second medical opinion?
Because you disrespected the process.
No.
Jesus, this is common sense, man.
Any situation which you seem to do, you're just dealing with Afro-Guyanese issues. If one, you can't bring and pull the leaders of the African community together, you're failing them. And if two, you can't put forward a future, a blueprint, and a plan for African Guyanese, you're failing as well.
Hi there. Good evening. A pleasant Monday evening to you. Hope the weekend has been satisfactory and hope the coming days will see you realize what you want. So thanks for being with us for 3.5 years. This is the edition of our show in which we spend 1.5 hours listening to your conversations, your viewpoint, your perspectives, your criticisms, your condemnations. Once you do not descend into the gutter, as some people do. This world is full of bright people, altruistic people, good people, but the world is also full of idiotic, nonsensical donkeys. That's life. So, please call in. The number is on the screen, 676-3681. And we have until 10 o'clock. Let's hear what you have to say. Normally, we do have a preliminary discussion. So I will ask our operator to show you what we showed you last week, and nothing has changed. After the video, I will tell you why we showing this video from last week. Operator, can you show the two videos about encumbrances on the public pulpits?
These are the girl name. That's the person.
Welcome to the Freddie Kissoon Show. Good. We showed you that last week after the national blow up at Wellington and Charlotte Street at the church where the city council came and moved what the church, the Universal Church, had put on the pulpit outside the church to stop people from parking. And the city council issued statement and all kinds of things. This is Guyana, do you know, since that Universal Church incident, the city council has not moved any encumbrances. What we showed you last week, I monitored it. They are still there. Banks DIH is next to a large trench. So you can't park next to Banks DIH wall. You can't park next to the... Yeah, sorry about that. You can't park next to Banks DIH. There's a trench. So why would Banks DIH put those cones stretching for a quarter of a mile? We devoted a lot of time to that nonsense last week.
You continue.
And the cones are still there. At Peter Rose and the Looney Street, what we showed you last week and just showed you are still there. So, what did the city council do? The city council got some fame and tried to get some credibility over the Universal Church thing because it was viral. People filmed it and it went viral. And so the city council said, let's get into this. After that thing last Tuesday, nothing happened. The encumbrances are all over. The private no parking signs are all over. This is the city council for you. This is Guyana for you. Not one sign, not one encumbrance was removed by the city council after the Universal Church incident. You know, sometimes you think there aren't words to describe this country. Don't let me get worked up. I'll hand you over to Leonard Craig.
Just a quick comment on that and move on. I think what we need is a national response. I am not enthralled with these sporadic do this, do that, pick here, pick there. What I think we need is a national response and a national thing where it applies across the board to everybody. This is the law. Let us follow the law regardless of who you are, whether you are private, corporate, whatever, and move on. That is the preferred response, I think, both whole of government, whether central, local, or whatever. I think that is what, and this thing is larger, in my opinion, than just going to one place and just moving some cones or going to another place and cutting down some trees. Many other, variables need to be taken into. Said Mr. Cobb, please call back. Yeah, many other variables need to be taken into consideration. You need to plan,
but it's so barefaced that this was a big thing all over the country about this man can't park, and this pastor came out, and the city council got into the act and moved the thing and says these encumbrances are illegal.
Hi, good evening. You're on to the program.
Hi, good night, gentlemen. How are you guys doing?
Good.
Okay, so my contribution to the program tonight is this. So they got a private school over the river, there's around the Crampton, by the name of Camille's Academy. So now I got a friend that 2 children going to that school. Now, when you now take your child to the school, they give you a little booklet, the rules and regulation of the school. So the school is going to close just now for this Christmas holiday. So Camille Academy is asking the parents there, it's compulsory, because apparently there's one of the rules in the booklet. To pay the full new term money before school closes. Now, for me, right, I think it's real unfair and ridiculous. The child even entered the new term as yet, and they're asking you to pay the full fee for the new term. Right? I think the Ministry of Education should cut some intervention and some rules and regulations that this private school is.
Can you stop a minute, sir? I've heard that before with other schools. I'm not sure it's Camille Academy. I'm not sure that's a new school, so they must have borrowed that procedure from other schools. But I definitely heard about that with other schools. So
No,
I don't know if it's a normal procedure.
You know, it's real unreasonable. So for me, I think the Ministry of Education should have some intervention and set some guidelines to these schools. These schools should be guided by, right? I mean, you can't take advantage from people like that. You understand? It doesn't make sense. You're styling.
Well, what I think should happen is that they should make it optional. They should say that fees for the next term are payable before the term begins, but you have the latitude of paying when the term begins. They should give you an option.
That's right. Well, there's workable, right? But that way I make it compulsory. But that unreasonable. You understand what I'm saying? That's unreasonable, real unreasonable.
All right.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Yeah. Thanks for coming through.
I've heard, but I heard that with other schools.
Yeah. I don't think a primary school level should do that, but I know many universities around the world do that and so on. But of course, universities need to.
You gotta pay your fees when they had fees.
Yeah, you gotta pay before you start, right? But I'm saying universities around the world, you turn on back this thing. Universities around the world need to. No, that won't turn it off. You gotta do what I just show you the side of the thing.
But it wouldn't ring.
It wouldn't ring.
Like, don't let it ring. God.
Yeah.
No,
it will still ring with that.
It will still ring?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so at primary school level, I mean, you know, I think your suggestion should be thing. Anyway, while somebody else is calling, I would want to raise this issue with the EU report on our elections.
That's a terrible manifestation.
I think the EU has.
You know the call.
Hey, good evening.
Hello.
Good evening.
Hi, good night. This is Freddie Kissoon.
Yes.
Yeah, I was looking at the video that you guys were sharing with the cones and the trees. As Freddie rightly mentioned, that this has been happening a very long time at Banks CIH. But I think the reason why that has been happening is that the city council is allowing it to happen. That's one.
Yes, I believe so.
The other reason is that Banks CIH is a big corporation, and they had been maintaining the place for the longest while, for many years now. Maybe that's the reason why they have it like that. Because if they didn't do that, the place would be overrun by vendors. The fish market from Meadowbank would be there. That's one issue. The other one that he was showing with the plants, that's beautification. You rather the plants there, or you rather a old cool down car there, and people selling coconut there. Crabs have been selling in the street all over the place. This is an issue all over the country.
So you don't.
People are taking matters into their own hands to beautify their parapets.
So you
it's
are
better
not
to do that than have vendors overrun the place.
So your concern is with vendors, not the encumbrances on public parapets, in which citizens are not allowed to park. So you can use the public parapets and prevent the ambulance, the police, and people going to pick up their kids from school. Prevent them from parking once they are not vendors. So you are applying the law conveniently. So it's all right.
It's the same thing if the vendors would be there. What would happen? How the ambulance would have passed?
No, but but the ambulance can't pass with the trees there and the cones there. So you need
it would have passed with the vendors there.
So that's what I'm saying. So you need to remove both. But you're saying
that's what I'm saying.
But you're saying you prefer.
That is the reason why Banks CIH is doing that.
You prefer
because of the fact that they were scared that vendors would overrun the place. And you see, they're doing a good job having the place clean. The parapets are clean, the trenches are clean. I don't see City Council doing anything there. That's Banks CIH is doing it.
So Banks CIH could use the public parapets to stop people from parking. Is that what you're saying?
I'm not saying that, but I'm
But what are
saying
you
that
saying?
this is encouraged by the city council because they are not taking care of the place. The people are keeping the place clean, because if they wasn't doing that, the Meadowbank Fish Market would be in front here. And let's say if the fish market was there and you got a puncture, how you would have pulled in the car now? How you would have got to fix a tire? You would have got to stop in the middle of the road as well. Similarly, if you're driving down Regent Street or many of the villages you go, you get a puncture, you got to stop in the middle of the street.
But
because there are vendors, there are stalls all over the place.
I can't accept your argument if I cannot accept people occupying the public pulpit, and that is good because suppose the vendors they come there. Is that how life is lived? On suppositions? So tell me something.
Right now, because all the vendors taking over the pulpits. They're in front of people's premises, in front of people's pulpits. They're taking over business place in front. That's what's going on. So before they do that, it's better the people keep it beautified. Is that the best way?
I told you I don't accept what you're saying.
All right, sir.
All right.
Thanks for coming through. Yeah.
Yeah, we're talking about that.
A lot of people carry that opinion, but I.
But you see the class thinking.
Mm-hmm.
The class thinking is saying Banks Diets is a big corporation and they're maintaining the pulpit.
The thing is this, and I often make this point when I discuss with people, that
You got a call.
I have seen vending. Hey, good evening. You're onto the program.
Yeah, good evening. With the college, you just call about the pulpit by Banks CIH. I totally agree with the man because if six bunks and maintaining, and people maintaining the pulpit, I don't know, Freddie thinking he stick on his point. But I totally agree with the caller. Because if I maintain my pulpit, it's like the guy said, vendors
You
take
maintaining
over.
your
What's the difference?
pulpit? You don't have a pulpit to maintain. Which pulpit your pulpit you maintaining? That pulpit is public property and it
I understand
facilitates.
it's public property, but if it's in front of my residence and I maintain it, city council or village council maintaining it.
Here what I would say. There is a difference between preventing people from parking and preventing vendors from selling in front of your house or shop or whatever.
The vendors take over.
The point is this. Some rich people and big companies have both police and city council and speed dial, and the first vendor that show up, they could get rid of them. So the substitution with vendor, I don't quite subscribe to that, because I know these people got both the police and the city constabulary on speed dial. My issue would be with parking. I don't care how much you look after your pulpit. If I come to the area and I need to park and my two wheels need to be on the grass that you just cut, so be it. But that is different. That is different from a vendor just showing up tomorrow and start to vend in front of your house. Me too. I don't get problems with the vendor if the vendor does that to me. Right? I gonna get problems with the vendor. I go in, if I gotta go and rap at the mayor's office every single day to come and get rid of that vendor in front of my place, it's different than somebody just using their right to park. It's too different. It's a false equivalence.
So if I don't maintain in front of my thing and the council ain't doing anything and I allow bushes to grow, then you wouldn't be able to park either.
It depends on what vehicle I drive. I might still be able to park.
Might.
No,
It's
no,
might.
but you see, the
But then
thing
when you
is,
park,
the thing is that shouldn't give you a right. Is you know what you're saying in a small. Hold on there. You know what you're saying in a small way. It sounds innocent what you're saying, but you know what you're saying is that if I got problems with somebody and I go and complain to the police, or the police is not coming and look after the complaint I got, I must take matters into my own hands. That's what you're saying. I must beat up my neighbor, and if I get access to firearm, I must shoot them.
no,
It's the
you got
it's the
off track. We're
equivalent.
talking about
No,
park.
it's the same
it's not the
thing.
equivalent.
It's the law.
No,
The law is here.
Leonard.
The law, follow me here. The law is here, and based on the law, the city council is supposed to come and clean the parapet, clean your gutter, and so on.
Suppose,
And
they're
you-
not doing it.
Yeah, but you do it for yourself. Similarly,
Right, I'm
my
doing it for
neighbor
myself,
cussed
for
me.
my
Hold on.
For the beautification of
My neighbor cussed me
area.
and disturbed my peace, and the police ain't come on time. I got for cut the tail.
No.
It's the same thing, sir. It's the
You see,
same.
you guys have, you're educated and everything, but your reasoning sometimes, it's like I don't get the logic, and you and Freddie reasoning.
I hear you. I beg to
Your
disagree,
logics, no,
but
your
it don't make
logics,
sense that we
no.
continue with this. I am not. I
In
cannot
rainy season,
consent.
right?
I cannot
Rainy
consent
season, listen,
to one form of law breaking
it's not.
to be dressed up to look better than another form of law breaking. Both instances is breaking
Oh,
the
yeah,
law.
understand if village council maintain, city council maintain the parkings, it's okay.
Mm-hmm.
But if they're not maintaining, when rainy season, you park, you dig up the parapet. Your vehicle come with stick, you dig it up and gone.
Mm-hmm.
I fix it. So what do you expect me to do?
I hear you, but I'm just saying I can't condone one type of law breaking and substitute that with another type just because one appear better to the eyes. Right? It's law breaking. It is law breaking, right? Because some people, a madman with a gun,
Okay.
Or
It's
even
no, I'm trying to get at.
No. All I'm saying here, hold on. Let me give you another.
Let me give you
Um,
my reason and then you tell me.
let me give you another example. Hold on
Okay,
quickly.
listen to me first.
All right, I'm gonna listen to you first.
If I allow the black stage and patrollers to take over the parket, would you still be able to park? What if I clear that and plant my decent looking plants and trees?
Again, I'm
Then you have a
saying to you,
problem.
We're not
again-
getting anywhere with this.
exactly. We're not getting anywhere. All right,
Thanks for
Thanks for
coming
coming through. The thing is this: if Freddie, you complain.
Thanks for coming through, sir.
Freddie, you complained several times about this noise nuisance, right? It's breaking the law, right? But suppose you just get mad with these people
got it.
one day and you just collect a gun and go shoot up in the air and say, yeah, shut off these things and move from here. It's one form of law breaking, you substitute. You might get quiet, peace and quiet. It sounds nice.
Good evening.
Hi, good evening. You're on to the
Good
program.
evening. Good evening. I like the topic you're talking about, the reserve and the parapet. Is whose duty to maintain and keep the parapet them in a good condition? Whose duty? Is it the state and the local authority?
Yes, sure,
Yeah.
surely.
You name me one place from the Pomeroon onto the Quarantine. What is happening on the roadside of this country? Tell me. Who are you faulting? You can't fault a private man. The government has failed to uphold to the laws. People are building big structures on the road.
Yeah.
You have a car, a license, and insurance, a fitness, everything have been taken out. You can't park.
Mm-hmm.
That's what the gentleman is saying. I protect it. and you're telling me I should have certain privileges? Wrong. This whole country, Freddie, it's lawlessness on the road.
All right.
Move from one end of it. When we do that, the man you have a point. But we got to stop some way down the line. It's lawless, man, building shop on the road.
But that is exactly what we're saying, sir.
Yeah, we got to start somewhere now.
Exactly. And in moving those things, you still cannot excuse somebody who put a plant or put a big brick.
But
it's all we have not advocated for one over the other.
If I may come in here, sir, the first caller that supported the people planting up on the first caller that says suppose the vendors move in, but there are thousands and thousands of places in this country where there's no marketable vendor.
Vendors not even interested in going.
If a vendor puts up a place where I live, nobody's going to buy anything there. Yet in the compound where I live, you should see what people have done with the carpets. Now, you could take the point.
I agree. The government got to be strict with the laws. The carpet is for the public use, got to be used by the public. That is the purpose of it. I want to park, go to the shop, I have a right. I have a puncture, I have to have somewhere to park. I agree, but we got to start enforce this law. It is getting reckless, my brother.
But that is what we have said here.
I agree what you're saying, Craig.
And we have said, and we have said here that a systematic thing need to be worked out to get compliance across the board.
Yes,
but some callers are saying that some situations are more special than others, and we're just saying no. Vendors gotta move. The people who planting the big trees in front of the thing gotta move. But for me, as I said earlier, I do not subscribe to the piecemeal method. Go and move this person cone, go and move that person garden, then you skip 10,000 people and go up. So I don't agree with that.
It's happened. Favoritism is there.
Right? I don't agree with that.
Saying, we must start now. We have spent a lot of money to modernize this country, and we got to start somewhere. You got to start, put out notices. Vending is illegal. Occupying council reserve is illegal. These are things we got to start. Give them a grace period, 5-6 months. Give them. I did that when I was leading Rose Hall, and we removed vendors clean out. We give them a 3-month period, and people adhere to the law. Yeah, after 2 o'clock, they move, they gone the way and become the clear parapet. We got to start. So many things look ugly bad.
Yeah.
It's very ugly some place, and the people who sell not keep it proper nice. They not keep it good. You know that. So what I'm saying, government and the NDC got to start to take the rightful action. We don't have to rush it. Bit by bit, it can finish. It can come to acceptable level. Banksy, I think, is lawless. I know it's lawless coming along the tolerance on it. It's lawless. You can't get rid of that. Thank you, Freddie.
Go. Thanks for coming, Joe.
Yeah.
Right. So he is more reasonable. He got sympathy for the people who take care of the parapet, but he also believe it's wrong and it should.
I think the callers them are missing a point, and the point is at an ideological level, those people feel that the parapet belong to their
them,
parameters.
That's what I got problem.
So they build a house there, and on the parapet they're gonna put a big statue of Mahatma Gandhi or Nelson Mandela, and it's going to line the whole parapet, or a statue of Cristiano Ronaldo, because that's a natural thing to do. That's all. So if you go around Guyana, not Georgetown, you will see there are places where no middle class people live, just rich people. So no vendors will go there. Yet the parapets have huge pillars, and it's an ideological belief that the parapet is an extension of your property. And what is dangerous for that is when the police chase in criminals who have shut up somebody's house and running to rob somebody. When the ambulance cannot shift aside, that is what is so dangerous now. At the corner of Peter Rose and the Looney Street, there is a school there, and you have to see the confusion when school is over in the afternoon. And that very garden on the parapet prevents people from parking to go and get their children. I mean, how could anybody justify that? That garden at Peter Rose and the Looney Street is an assertion by the owner that the parapet belongs to the perimeters, and jurisdiction of land ownership. That is what it is.
Land ownership is a thing I don't think people quite understand, and people don't understand the limited power you have even with the ownership of a land. Do you know that it is just the surface of the land you own, and not even you gotta get permission from the government to go up?
You live up.
The government could prevent you from going 3-4 stories.
Have you ever lived in countries like Canada, United States?
Yeah.
Well, I was educated in Canada for 5 years, and I could tell you, you can't park. You could park outside of somebody's house.
Hello? Good evening.
Hey, good evening, gentlemen. Mr. Kissoon, good night. You're stressing on the ambulance thing passing. I don't know, the government or the NDC built a brand new market at Morrico for the people. I don't know when last you went up there, brother, but the place is chaos on the highway. If you go closer to Melcher on the highway, someone built a permanent structure on the highway. You got with cement posts with cement blocks. You gotta look at that. It's the same way the ambulance can't get by. You gotta see what's going on Saturday. Please take some time, and the East Coast is crazy, Mr. Kissoon. Crazy with this vending gone. This vendor's gone crazy all over the place. They're throwing up permanent structures, and I'm telling you, this one is a permanent structure on the highway with cement posts. You check it out. Thank you, bro.
Okay, thanks for coming through.
So what the NDC is doing about it?
Well, once it's on the main road, it's central government.
Yeah. Ministry. But you see the class mentality of people. Nobody in calling to say that Hand in Hand has a whole area for their parking, and that area takes up public property. But you're here with vendors. Class-ridden society, class-driven society, vendors. As if these vendors are not living people with economic problems.
The thing is that what this shows, though, is that shoppers don't mind or want to patronize vendors, and vendors make a living off of vending on public property. It therefore means that it is crying out for a solution. And part of that solution would have to include systematic way of dealing with these things. Good evening, you're onto the program.
Hello, Freddie, good night.
Good night.
You're up on this topic about this part, right? You know Grove Village?
Yeah.
You know,
I passed there today. I went to the airport, yeah.
You know Jimbo Bridge?
Yeah.
I want you driving Jimbo Bridge and come in when you want to place there and see all them stall were putting up there, concrete stall, wood stall, everything, and NDC they're right out on the road and they're passing in there every day, and they ain't seeing that. It's when now they're ready to go there, and when the people then go say that they're 2-3 years, there's worries to get them out.
No, they're gonna say that they're 30 years.
Like telling you what funny take these people and put up this structure. NDC NDC is seeing or
But that is unfair to the vendors, though. Once you can't turn a blind eye to people setting up vending in which they invest money, and then 5 years after you come and break it down. You have to stop it.
Why you think the government for the NDC?
You have to stop it as soon as they start it.
The government pay the NDC for doing their job, but like the NDC doing their job.
Yeah.
NDC have to do their job. And the government got to look into the NDC. Let me give the people involved who looking after them park or who doing that. Let me give the NDC the fault. NDC got the whole fault that this corruption got to dig this country like this. Because look, when I come in Jimbo Bridge and I watching these people and put up concrete thing and wood right through when you pass dope they're smoking. They're selling beer, they're selling.
The credit must be finished. Thanks for coming through, sir. Yeah. Anyway, I think we should move off of the topic now and go back to what we started.
Not if the callers want to talk about that.
Yeah. It is. But my conclusion of the matter, it has to be approached in a holistic way, in a way that recognize even the vendors, in a way that recognize people, quote unquote, in high society, in a way that
this society is too class. Do you know
that is fair to the entire society?
I think the class nature of this society may be even more. I want to use it right. Maybe even more barefaced than some outright capitalist countries, where there may be some mechanism, to stop the lawlessness of the capitalists. Do you know there is a law in this country, a regulation in this country that stops container trucks during traffic hour? You go any time of the day and see those huge container trucks that can't even turn in rush hour.
Yeah,
but you know
in some narrow streets too sometimes.
No policeman. Once a policeman go there, the person gonna call that big company, and that big company is gonna call a police officer,
a senior police officer.
And that, but sand trucks cannot be on the road after 7 in the morning, and they stop them because you know what? Those sand trucks are ordinary working class people. They can't call nobody. This is just a very
again, so those things are some of the things that we, as a society, need to look into, in the sense that trucks of that size and weight can't just drive into any street. For me, rush hour is not the issue. If you got an adequate street for them to drive on, I can't see why somebody would want to stop a container truck from driving on Heroes Highway, for example, rush hour or not. So if we have the roadway for them, but certain roads should, certain classes of vehicles shouldn't drive on certain roads.
You know what I wanted to say? I forgot when I came on this program. I came from the airport this afternoon. And when you're on the Heroes Highway and when you're on the New Ogle Highway, you have these signs. Eccles 5, Diamond 10. Now, some people may not know we gone over to metric. I think that 5 and 10 is kilometers.
KM.
But put KM, man, how much would it take with that big sign? And all over it says, it's saying Diamond 10, Grove 5. You're coming down the Ogle Airport. South Rumfell 2, Ogle 1. But you can't put 2 km, man. You can't put just 2 km or 2. But which other country you just have it as 2? I know in other countries they put it Savannah 8 miles or Savannah 22 kilometers. I mean, I think that it should be properly done. You came, but travel, you will see.
No, I saw it. I saw it. I got two minds about it.
Diamond 5.
One mind is saying
no,
it is understood, and another mind is saying it should be specific.
I monitor what goes on in this country, and I'm an educated man. And I honestly don't know if it's miles or kilometers. I know we've gone over to metric.
Yeah, well, everything is required to be metric. In fact, if they put it in miles, they might very well be breaking the law. Because the law mandate that a metric unit be used.
Anyway, if you have anything else...
all right, so I want to pivot to this EU.
Oh yeah, you wanted to talk about
the EU report. And the EU report kind of got two parts to it. One part that is anybody could consider it to be reasonable, right? It talks about the election was free, fair, and what have you. That the opening of poll, closing of poll, the counting were orderly, nicely run, and so on and so on and so on. But when it came to the societal issues where a judgment call had to be made, I think they got it really, 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 really wrong. You have a theory as to why they got it wrong.
I will tell you.
I won't want to get into why they got it wrong, but I would want to point out to viewers what they got wrong. And probably you can go into the why. Now, for example, one of the things that they spoke about or they wrote about in their final report is media coverage. And they said certain media houses, I think it's as much as 90 or 90 something % covered only the government. But
no, that's not true. That's scientifically not true.
Apart from it not being true, they also need to present the other side of the coin and tell people that members of the opposition refuse. Many occasions, it's on video, it's on YouTube, you can go and check it. Azruddin Mohammed and his party, for example, try to stop journalists and send them away. And I see members of the opposition ask journalists which news thing you're from. And then refuse to give them, refuse to speak to them or give them their perspective. So if you refuse to do that, what perspective you expect that media house to thing when people from the government side would be giving them interviews and perspective freely? Our show, this show, for example, is by far the most viewed show on social media out of Guyana. And we invited each and every one of the presidential candidates from the opposition. And you know what I want viewers to know? That we tell candidates, whether they're presidential candidate or other candidates, if there is a topic you do not want us to address, or if there is something you feel uncomfortable about, let us know before the show starts and we wouldn't even ask you a question on those things. And we also tell them that if during the questioning you find something to be uncomfortable, just ask us to move on and we will. And we usually follow that is like a policy on the show. And those same people, they go into their own echo chamber. They run on Context with Enrico Wolford, that got a small viewership. They run on Globespan. They run on where they can get friendly questions. Part of why people tune in and people view, people want to see you handle yourself as a politician. People want to see you be confident in whatever the arena. And that is why I always go back to Ganesh Mahipal. He's the only person who came. And I always go back to him. And there's nobody who can look at the interviews we did with Ganesh Mahipal. I think it was 2 of them. One at the...
He is more
garden.
rough with us than we rough with him.
Yes.
He's
one at the...
He
tell me about, you know, I am with PPP and that is why I'm... And all kinds of things. And that confidence that he exudes. And the EU is seeing that. That is part of why our coverage here end up being 70, 80, 90% in favor of the government. And that happened with many media houses that the opposition perceived to be too friendly with the government, and they failed to engage. And the EU, if it wanted to be balanced, it needed to say that, yeah, we see a lot of coverage on these stations, but we acknowledge that there are instances where candidates refuse to engage and thing. You saw that many times with the Mohammeds, many times. They ask which media house you from. Many times they refuse when media people go in some of these Amerindian villages that they visited, and they tell people to turn off the camera, don't do this, don't do that. But go ahead, Freddie, and say why. Why you think?
Have anything on your mind? 676-3681. Call and talk about anything you want to talk about. This is your show, and it's an avenue for you to express your views. Tell us when we're wrong, tell us when we're right. Now, this is my experience of living in Guyana and being involved in the media and politics for donkey years. When a foreign body, a foreign entity come, be it journalists, be it academia, they normally contact, when they arrive in the country, the liaison officer of the embassy of their country. Each embassy in Guyana have a PR person or a political affairs officer. He's generally from that country. So if it's Canada, the EU embassy, the American embassy, when these people come here, they inform the embassy that they're coming, and since it's citizens of their land and it's a media house or it's a research team, the embassy will go and meet them and try to facilitate them. But what these embassies do when they meet with the CNN or BBC reporters, or what the research team, or they investigating some scientific thing in Guyana, the embassies will facilitate them and tell them, look, stay away from this area in the night. This restaurant is, very popular, but it's located in a bad area. And so they advise them. Then they would say, well, look, if you're doing research on Guyana's sociology, domestic violence, these are the people you should speak to. And embassies do that all the time. The American embassy, the EU, Canadian, and British High Commission, they point the people to directions they should go into to meet who they think they should meet. And most of the time, people with an independent mind, or people with a slight perspective in favor of the government, they never tell the people about them. They only point out anti-government people. They only tell the people, well, go and talk to this red thread person. Go and talk to the person in Guyana Human Rights Association. They never, and that is how the EU team, when the EU team came here to observe the election. The ambassador to the EU, Mr. Van Ness, he provided the local names for the people to be PR, to facilitate them with research. And let me tell you, all of those 5 persons that Mr. Van Ness recommended and that were employed by the EU observer team were people that had a bias against the government. And it crept into their final report, because guess what? The local chaperone would tell them, well, you better go and speak to Travis Chase. Travis Chase got his eyes on the ground. And you better go and talk to this guy, G.K. Chal. He does a daily column in the Kaicho News, which is a very popular newspaper. That is what they do. So those embassies would never send a company, a news company come together to me, because they know how I feel about the hypocrisy of Western democracy. They know I don't believe in liberal democracy because it don't exist. They know how I feel about the Western countries and their support for genocide. So they wouldn't. I've been teaching at University of Guyana for 26 years. I've been doing a daily column for decades. And people will come here from CNN, from French news agency, and they would never ask me for a comment. That's because when they come here, the British embassy, the American embassy tell them to go to Henry Jeffrey. They would never call my name, because they want people with an anti-government slant to talk to these people. Remember, there was a famous BBC program called Hard Talk, and the people come here. You got a call.
Hi, good evening. Please turn your device down, the volume on your device. Please turn the volume of your device down.
Hello, sir.
You have to end this call, sir.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes, sir. Go on.
I have a complaint to make.
Yeah.
I live in New York,
and
I rent in Guyana. I have a house in Guyana, and when I go, I put on.
Call was disconnected, so you can call back.
Call back. So if you're looking at the program, call back.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but that's what I was saying. When I heard who were the 5 persons that people do not know how these Western embassies in Guyana operate. They hear about, because the U.S. embassy and the British embassy are more high profile than the Mexican embassy or the Argentine embassy. We come to know more about these embassies. But people don't know how these embassies operate. They're very, very anti-democratic. The perspective, their politics are not as liberal as you may think. The EU and these Western embassies, you should see the names of the civil society groups that they fund. All of those civil society groups are anti-government. I don't know what's the relationship between these Western embassies and the PPP. But I have solid information, incontrovertibly solid information, of how these people favor anti-government critics. You take the EU embassy. The EU embassy funds certain civil society groups to the tune of hundreds of millions of dollars. Policy Forum, SASOD. When these people apply for a grant, it's a grant of $500,000 EU. You know the dozens of millions of Guyanese dollar is just 300,000 euros. It's 240 something for one. So what these embassies do, they facilitate one. They have a French embassy here. Once Leonard from France come to do something about our oil, they there's a group of these Western ambassadors. Do you know? I'm glad we're using this program. If the telephone call, we'll have to take it. Do you know every Wednesday, the 4 ambassadors from the 4 Western countries in the EU, Canadian, British, and American, every Wednesday they meet and rotate at their homes. You had to call them?
No, it stopped. It's just like the person just ring and stop.
Every Wednesday, these 4 ambassadors meet at different homes.
One coming through. Hi, good evening. You're onto the program.
Hi, good night, gentlemen. How are you doing?
We doing fine.
Just a point in support of Mr. Kissoon concerning these foreign embassies. Come in and point to the groups that are against the government. It is a strategy that they use all over the world. And for those Guyanese that are listening to me, home and abroad, know that in one sense it's a setup to put us against each other. It's what you call divide and rule. Because they always know that there are people in any country that have some level of dissatisfaction. And what they do, brother, they go all over the world and look at those groups that are dissatisfied with the government, and then they start to not only hear what they have to say, but then they finance them. And they finance them to the extent where those groups turn and even try to overthrow the government of the day. That's my comment. My name is Dennis Mohammed. I was on your show one time. I'm the head for the Nation of Islam in Guyana. Let's be careful, Guyanese people. Thank you.
Thanks for coming through. Yeah, and
go ahead. Do you know how these embassies treat people? These Western embassies? Not the Cuban, not the Chinese, not the Russians. Guess what they do? They have employed a company called VFS. They don't want their embassy. You go online and you apply for it, and you have to go to an office named VFS
to pick up your
hand in your papers and what have you. And for callers who are listening anywhere in this world, if I ever said anything that is not correct, I am telling you what I'm about to say is correct. I did the research. I wrote columns on it when people complained to me. The VFS office in Guyana has no email, no telephone number. So you go and you line up, and this includes diplomats from the Guyana government, the US Embassy, the British High Commission do not deal at all with visa. They parcel it out to a place called VFS. This VSF has no facilities. You go, you move from the parapet and you go to the door. If it's raining, you get wet. If you can't park, good. So you knock on the door and somebody come in and they give the you can't know those person's name. They told you they can't give you their names. You hand in your papers and they say they will contact you. You don't have any contact, any communication with them to know when your stuff come in. If your stuff is delayed, they tell you there is the policy is not to give out an email, not to give out the names of the officers, not to give out a telephone number. And those people are working for the 4 Western embassies in Guyana. The embassy of the UK, the embassy of Canada, employ these people to look after your visa. But yet these embassies tell you They can't contact the people. So last year, I had to take Miss Jane Miller of the British High Commission to task. There was this guy from the he was then the head of the Chamber of Guyana Manufacturing
Association.
Yeah, his name is Timothy. I can't remember what's the last name. And when Timothy asked Miss Miller, he was going to the UK for a day with his family, and he haven't heard from VFS. She told him, I can't intervene. She has the right and the authority to call VFS and said, this man is a prominent businessman and he haven't heard from you guys as yet. You think Miss Miller, the embassy from Canada, would do an Israeli Jewish man that? If he goes to complain to them and said he haven't heard from VFS, that's how they treat third world people in this country. You can go to the Chinese embassy and get your visa. You could go to the Russian embassy and get your visa. You could go to the Mexican embassy and get your visa. But a country like Canada, 25 million people, Mexico's 90 million people, one of the leading known countries in the world, Mexico, they give you your visa there, Canada parcel it out to VFS. My daughter had to go to VFS to get her student visa. This was in Common Street. You had nowhere to park. We had to park a whole block away, and she is walking with her important documents as if it lost. It's a disaster. And the area after we got that visa, weeks after, a Cuban carpenter was murdered right near there, and the guy stole his rucksack and knifed him. That was where the VSF office was. I wrote about all of those things. They're insulting to third world people. You could imagine. You are not going to believe this. When you are accredited from Jamaica, from Guyana, to your embassy wherever in that country, good? It is that embassy. So you're Jamaican, and you're posted to
the European country.
Yeah. Good. That diplomat who's going to be the ambassador to France from Guyana has to line up outside the VSF office. He doesn't know the officer. Officer doesn't give him his name. There's no email contact. And you are an ambassador going to represent your country in France, and you have to line up. That is how they treat third world people. But listen to this. Every year, some 10 to 8 university graduates come to Guyana and elsewhere. It's something called Peace Corps. And do you know the Ministry of Foreign Affairs sends up a protocol officer to meet those Peace Corps people? And their visa and everything. I was at the seawall, and I saw a visitor to the British High Commission with Miss Jane Miller, the British High Commissioner, on the seawall, and there were policemen and soldiers nearby in their vehicle. I'm on the seawall every day. That is how we treat them. But look how they treat us. You got to line up. And when it's raining, you got to stay in the rain. But what is worst of all, these people tell Guyana and the third world about transparency. That jackass Henry Jeffrey about liberal democracy that Western Europe we don't have it. How could you employ a company to distribute visa to applicants to your country, and there is no transparency? The visa applicant cannot call the office, cannot get an email. How could these Western companies tell us that they are transparent? Let me tell people what goes on in the EU embassy in this country. People would not know what goes on in this in this place. They entertain applications only from civil society groups that are anti-government. SASOD, Guyana Human Rights Association, Policy Forum, etc. And do you know, these are the people that tell us about Henry Jeffries and Jackass, that tell us about liberal democracy and separation of power. And what. No one can know from the EU embassy what is the stipend SASOD got for 2023. Policy Forum submitted last year a document for funds, and they got it. The EU would not tell you how much they dispersed the Policy Forum. They would tell you that, so they take taxpayers' money, give it to a group in Guyana, and they cannot tell the Guyanese people how much they get. How could that be transparency? You know what was one of the things that I'm not an admirer of Trump, but you know was one of the things that I, as a trained academic, was so glad he did when he got rid of USAID. USAID is a body used by the US government to fund entities against a government that they don't like. This thing about giving out AIDS kit, and this thing about giving kindergarten computers, that's just a front. USAID is a vehicle of the US government for overthrowing governments. The USAID was one of the main vehicles for overthrowing the Chedi Dragon premiership in the 60s. And Trump just got rid of it. And nobody, you can get any information from the US Embassy as to what groups the USAID funded for last year, for the year before. You can't get any of that information from the EU. And Henry Jeffrey writes in a paper run by the PNC, founded by Burnham, an anti-colonial man, that that's what he said, the Caribbean and Africa don't have liberal democracy. And what the hell is liberal democracy? What the EU embassy does? What them, you could imagine these people give hundreds of millions of dollars and they don't publish an annual thing that SASOD got this from us, Policy Forum got this. You can't get that information.
Yeah, and this was the benefit to the country what have you. All right, the second item that was Freddie's rant. But he's entitled to that. So the other issue is that was flagged by the EU Observer Mission is the opening of these public facilities, these public projects like hospitals, schools, markets, and so on. And they said that was part of the government using government resources to be part of the election. But again, I'm saying it's probably okay for them to highlight that, but then their report will not be balanced if they don't highlight that the government has been opening schools, hospitals, markets throughout their term, except for the little COVID period. They have been opening markets throughout the term, and they continue to open various other various other projects even after the election. So for example, just last week Thursday or Friday it was, they opened a solar farm in Region 6 That was for which election? That
But
was to get which votes they opened that to get.
But do you know what they did? And that is because they were incompetent researchers and they're biased. They talk about media representation that the state media, right, was hogged by the government. Anybody doing any research in Guyana would see that the Starbuck News and Kaicho News was at the disposal of the opposition. Do you know what Roy Johnson said? Roy Johnson said, and I want people, Guyanese around the world, to listen to this. This is not Freddie Kissoon ranting and saying these things. This is a very level-headed man who is the advisor to the One Guyana Commission, Roy Johnson.
Advisor to the president on One Guyana.
Roy Johnson said that the Starbuck News was taking post-communique from Wind and putting it in their papers as hard news. They were never there. So Wind sent them something about what Wind did in a village, and they reported it as if Starbuck News was there.
You know? And the same party, what they did, they lock out any media house that they perceive to be friendly to the government. And so they lock out the media house, and then they send their stuff to the media houses that they believe are friendly to them.
But who are these fools?
And these things didn't make it in the report, not even in passing, not even in a roundabout way, not even and thing. And then the president addressed this issue, and Facebook was alight with people saying how the president sound angry and scathing attack on the EU observer mission. I don't like to see politicians display anger. I prefer politicians to be measured and so on. But the president had every right in this occasion, in my view, every right on this occasion to display a form of anger that expresses how the government feels. And
but they were so ridiculous. And anybody, they've been here 5 weeks. They must be reading the newspapers to see that Starbuck News hasn't got one independent columnist. The Kaicho News hasn't got one independent columnist. All are anti-government that say terrible things about the government. And they use those columns to campaign. Look, GKH Lal in Kaicho News was campaigning for Win. All the Starbuck News columnists were campaigning for APNU. And these people come here, and
then they use, as I said earlier, there were projects being commissioned, 2-3 projects per month for the entirety of the life of the government. Look, the amount of roads that were open and had nothing to do with the nearness of election. All it had to do with is the delivery, government delivery of the project it promised in the last manifesto. So that they wanted to use the entire term, and remember also that COVID literally ate 2 years out of the term of Finale's last government. And so it is no surprise that projects came back to back to back. And further, there's a point that I made in my article today, that some of these projects that were delivered so close to the election were rocked by delays, and the government had to change. Some contractors had to fire contractor for incompetence and all of that. And the government lost a lot of political capital because of it during the time of government. And they were able to recover and deliver the project, and that is flagged as government utilizing state resources. So what they're calling utilizing state resources. So if you open a hospital, it's close to election, and then you provide water and juice and so on. That water and juice and all, and if in some cases food, is state resources to win an election. I mean,
I am absolutely sure those EU observers, I'm sure they spoke to the editor of the Starbuck News and did not speak to the editor of the Chronicle.
And further, one additional point I want to make on this is that they spoke of the undue advantage of incumbency, and they did not even mention that all governments in every era in the existence of Guyana has benefited from some of the trappings of office during an incumbency. And they did not mention if just the previous election gone, a person, a prominent politician and vice president in the previous government did say that there are some benefits, did acknowledge that there are some natural benefits to incumbency, and that those natural benefits is an acceptable level. And it happens in the US. When Trump running for an election, when Biden running for an election, there was Park Air Force One. Granger flew into Kokwani with a helicopter when he was campaigning, and he didn't even go to open.
It's racial superiority.
He didn't even go to open a school.
They come here and they dismiss these small countries.
He didn't even go to open a school. He went directly to an election rally and flew back out. He didn't even mask it. So the point I'm making is that I am not getting after Granger. For me personally, you're the president, you want to fly in a given location with a helicopter, you want a B-52 and go in, I got no problem with that. But the issue here is that if you're going to issue a report and you're going to flag those things as negative things that impacted the election, you've got to also put an addendum, put a note or something to say that this is part of the electoral culture, and we recognize it is part of the culture, and we think that these aspects of these things can be changed, but in order to change it, it's all parties embrace that culture, and that is essentially the issue: the one-sidedness of the report, the one-sidedness, unprofessional one-sidedness.
And there are reasons for that report. Local people who are moving along with them, influence them to put those things in the report. We have 4 minutes. We have 4 minutes left. Please call us. What's happening?
You're not reclaiming your time.
Yeah. I'm supposed to reclaim the time.
9 minutes. We got to go 10:05.
We got maybe
9 minutes remaining. Yeah.
Call us and tell us what is on your mind. 676-3681. We want to hear from you. Anything at all that, or enlighten us and tell us why you think something shouldn't be and it is, or why something is and it shouldn't be. I don't know what's happening to the calls this evening, but 3.5 years
they must be enjoying the
I guess they're probably listening. They're probably listening to us. 3.5 years we've been doing this program, and this is there's always a first. This is the first time we've had 10 minutes break and there are no calls. So I guess they must be enjoying what they must be.
There's a call here. Hi, good evening. Thanks for coming through. Turn the volume on your device down, yeah. Come in. You call there, you know.
Hello.
Yeah, buddy.
Yeah, good night.
Mm-hmm.
You call it. I got a problem with this online booking where they have a transport for the ferry them coming to Region 1. They got certain people where they booking, and people like us, we don't get a few boxes to come on the boat. When you go there, they tell you they're already full up. They have a WhatsApp group, but they don't send the amount to each group. To each person, sorry.
All right.
Somebody need to look into this. Something going on steady. Sometimes you post things missing. A whole month now I got some boxes to come and we can't get it to come up now. Every time they got enough. And they bring 200 boxes. I got about 15 or 17 boxes to bring the exile. And they bring 200 for other people. They got divided among the people.
Yeah. Which ministry is in charge of that? Public Works?
No, not Public Works anymore.
That's ferry and
it comes that ferry thing. I think it comes under this new ministry. Public service. No.
Public service and government.
In there. What you call it?
Aviation. He's Minister of Aviation.
Aviation, you get another attachment. Aviation
okay.
And
so that's
public utilities. I think. Yeah, maritime. There's a minister called maritime. Yeah, same in there.
No, but that
comes
is,
under
if
him.
that is true, that is not right.
So the river transportation and public utilities.
Look, take my number. I'm supposed to see Minister Indal to come on this program.
Yeah, but the boat's supposed to left in the morning, and I give me the person who shipped my thing tonight just went there today, and they tell you that you can't take anything today.
Yeah,
because they are
probably
already
is a demand for
I think it was Friday.
Another ferry in that route, probably. All right.
They are very because they got a lot of favoritism. They got their own people that just bring these things for.
All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Take my number. I will take my number and call me and give me your name and number. And I will give it to Minister. Take my number 614.
Okay. Yeah, I have your number. I have it already.
All right. You call me after the program or in the morning and give me your name and number. And when I see Minister Indal, I will ask him right there and then if he can call you. That is not right if it's true. That is not right.
All right.
Okay. Thank you.
What this is suggesting to me, though, Freddie, is that there is a bigger demand for the ferry service than the ferry, and we as a society we gotta look into probably adding either more trips or more boats.
But you can't have I know that favoritism thing only too well. That's what they do, and maybe people pass their hand.
Yeah, well, right. And to prevent that, it would be that you have sufficient room and have sufficient ferry and so on. And I believe that's a work in progress. And when you interface with the minister, you can ask him about the future plans for...
Now that we stop ranting and raving, we're getting calls.
Hi, good evening.
Good evening.
Thanks for coming through.
Good evening. Yeah, good evening again, gentlemen. Just to add to what Mr. Kissoon was saying just now concerning these foreign embassies, it is also important for the viewers to understand that countries like Guyana, Suriname, Barbados, Trinidad, the Caribbean in the whole, we don't get the chance to go to observe these various elections and make no comments at all on what goes on in these so-called first world countries. I don't agree with Mr. Kissoon that they're first world and we're third world. I see us as the first world and they as the third world, because my definition for first and third world is those that are obedient to the will of Almighty God. And they're very disobedient to God's will and God's people and the way how they treat us, they treat us according to Mr. Kissoon. So we are the first world, really and truly, Mr. Kissoon. They are the third world because anything goes in their country, all sorts of lawlessness. So your viewers need to take note of that. We're not allowed to go into their country and observe nothing and say nothing what we think about their elections. Thank you.
Yeah, well, that is part of the narrative as well. The mayor, since he brought it up, the mayor naming of dividing the world into worlds, first and second and third and so on.
Yeah, I think
in and of itself,
the third world thing is left in us. But it's really global south.
Now these days is global south because a lot of people, a lot of academics have refused to use the term third world.
And I agree. It should be global
so what they
south.
have is global north,
global
and global
south, post-colonial world, because they did colonize us.
And global south is not south of the equator, is your income is in the south, right? That is the distinction. So these are some of the issues that you have to deal with when it comes to election, that people want to influence the flow of information only based on their perspective, and there is no attempt at being fair, no attempt at being balanced, no attempt at being, even when things are blatant.
But people know. Guyanese people, you need to have more. These programs, we need to have more people writing. Do you know that there is a body in an unknown university in Sweden, and this body produces a report every year?
Sweden got several of them, actually.
And the one that is most popular is called Varieties of Democracy, VDEM Institute. And people like Henry Jeffrey and the opposition quote these people. These people give you the state of democracy in over 200 countries. And Dr. Tara Singh, former professor of sociology at UG, contacted them and said, listen, your pronouncement on Guyana, how did you do your research? Who are your contacts? I know what they told the man. We can't give out that information. And right next door is Germany, that has an entity called Transparency Institute International. So these people are putting Jamaica, the Maldives Island, Barbados, Guyana, Guatemala, Honduras, they're putting us on a scale and assessing democratic value in each of these countries, and writing up what is happening in these countries, and cannot tell you if it's the dean of the Faculty of Social Science that contributed.
What is your contributing partner in Guyana?
So it's possible that they don't have any. So they hide behind the secrecy, and what they do is cut and paste. So they go to Starbuck News, or they go to Kaicho News, see something written by someone from the opposition, and they latch on to it, put it in their annual report, but there's no academic in Guyana. You can imagine a body called Variety of Democracy Institute analyzing democratic trends in 193 countries, which are among that are in the UN, and you don't know how they do the research and who they contact. And these people barefaced enough to tell Professor Tara saying we can't give out that information.
Yeah, but Sweden is like a farm for those types of institute, and putting out these indexes and so on. I don't know what is going on in the universities in Sweden, but they are farm for those types of statistics and so on.
Well, our operator said we have to go. He gave us back our 5 minutes. So I am going to count from 1 to 10. And if there's no call, then we will see you with an interesting guest on Wednesday. So our time has come. You want to call us quickly? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That's it. The calling program for Monday has come to an end. We will see you on Wednesday, and we suggest you pay careful attention to what our guest is saying. He knows what he is saying. We will see you on Wednesday. We will see you on Friday as usual. Craig and I still have to do our interpretation of things that are going on. A lot of crazy things, Terence Campbell, a lot of crazy things AP and you people saying. Remember David Hines told the minister, Manichan, get out, what you doing in Tiger Bay? Get out of Tiger Bay. So Miss Manichan has no right to be in Tiger Bay. Leonard Craig will do our dialogue next week. Catch you later as usual. Bye-bye.